All right, this is my week 7 Makerspace assignment. First question: how have your interests, motivations, and social connections helped you develop knowledge, expertise, and the moxie to make and do the things you love? So, pretty much what I came up with is the things I've done have provided me with the wisdom and perspective needed to take action and explore my interests. So, growing up, I was always into sports. Playing sports has equipped me with countless real world lessons that I have been able to directly translate from the field to everyday life. Sports have also equipped me with like minded friends who I have been able to learn a lot from and continue to grow with. All of these lessons have given me the tools and confidence that allow me to make the courageous daily decisions I have to in order to do the things I love. The funny thing is, I actually coach high school basketball right now, and the lessons that were instilled in me through sports, I am now getting or able to instill in them, and they can see directly how these lessons that I am teaching them are impacting my life. So that's just a cool way how my interests and motivations are allowing me to do what I love every day. How can you use your students' interests, motivations, and social connections to develop knowledge about the subject? Um, I think I could do this by relating the subject directly to each student's future realities or interests. So, a lot of times, students find many subjects boring because they can't see how this is going to help them in the future. So, by relating to them how this will impact them in the future, I think it will help motivate them. For example, there are many students that struggle with math, but there are also many students that wish to be financially wealthy. As a teacher, I could help students understand that the two go hand in hand. This will allow the student to understand its importance and motivate them better. How can I use the makerspace concept in my classroom to help teach content? What activities could students do? I could use this content to be it could be a new innovative way to motivate and inspire students. It will allow students to be more creative by bringing in a more hands-on learning modules in the classroom. This is a good switch up to more conventional ways of learning. So it just allows students to be more creative, think outside of the box, and figure out more problem-solving ways maybe that they'll use in the real world. Students could do many activities like making new toys, inventions, hats, and many more objects that allow students to create without boundaries that some conventional ways of teaching have. So with the makerspace concepts, kind of anything goes, and there's no really limit to learning. Whereas more conventional learning concepts have some boundaries, and you can only go so far. How do we intentionally foster independence, risk taking, and perseverance in all of our students' learning and behavior? We do this by giving them the opportunity to do these things. So, just by giving them the opportunity and kind of exposing them to the opportunity of being independent, having to take risks, and to persevere through all of this, Makerspace is a perfect tool that, if implemented correctly, will allow students the freedom to make their own decisions. These decisions will allow students with experience of having to make hands-on decisions. And whether the decision they make work or does not work, these projects will either way will provide students with real-world knowledge. So I think it's very important that Makerspace allow students to fail, because not only will they learn from their accomplishments, but they also learn from their mistakes. And I believe that's a very key component that a lot of times um, teachers and parents do not allow their students to fail, so that when students do end up failing, they really don't know how to persevere through that struggle. Who will use it? Who is your target audience? Who else could would benefit? All ages of education could benefit from the Makerspace concepts because I plan to teach junior high school kids. My target audience when using this would be students from the ages of 11 to 14. I believe staff could also benefit from these concepts as well. Many teachers have great concepts and ideas that they believe would help them teach more effectively. They should be able to use some of these concepts and incorporate some of their ideas into their classrooms with agreement of of the higher ups, such as the principals and maybe the heads of the math departments or whatever department they're in. What skills do you want your learners to develop? Why? I want my learners to develop real world skills like the ability to learn how to sew, knowledge of wiring and circuitry, and many more hands on skills the Makerspace could provide. The real cool thing about the Makerspace concept is students are able to kind of explore their interests and what they want to explore. So in doing so, they could kind of see what niche they will have in the world. But I also would like my learners to learn how to put together a plan of action and ability to carry out because I find that this will be very helpful in the real world. I want them to learn these things because these are real world problems that all students will need to be able to do once they are out of school. How will you keep it from being just a crafty space, or do you need to? I will keep it from just being a crafty space by making students show me their course of actions before entering the makerspace. They need to have an intentional plan and goal when working in this area. Although this should be a fun, creative area that students should be eager to enter, they also need to be effective and efficient when working. Um, this will not only allow the area to be kind of a fun thing to do, but also cultivate learning and get them used to having kind of a time sensitive project, which really relates to the real world, especially in the business world where you have a lot of deadlines. What will you do for the kids who are amazing at making? For the kids who are amazing at making, I will allow them to take on more challenging tasks, but also make them help and interact with other students that might not be doing so well. This will allow the amazing students to continue to be motivated and challenged while working on their social skills and giving back to the less talented. What will you do for the kids who think they're terrible? For the kids who think they're terrible, I will continue to be patient with them and allow them to explore their own interests. I will also have the more capable students help the lesser ones out. This will allow the students that think they are terrible to have new perspectives on how to succeed with these projects. It will also allow both students to experience working in a group, which is very valuable in the real world. Because we all know that unless you have your own business where it's just a business of one, everybody needs to be able to work with people and find ways to succeed in a group. What's the role of a classroom teacher? The role of a classroom teacher, in my opinion, is to cultivate, inspire, and motivate learning in the most efficient and effective ways for the student. The youth is the future, so we as educators have to do our best to set students up for success in the future. With the continuous growth of technology, we must equip students with the tools they will need to flourish when they come out of school and into the workforce. That's another reason why I believe this makerspace concepts are so great because it is very innovative and it's kind of a new way of tackling education and learning that goes away from kind of the old system and really adds technology that wasn't originally had in some of the older concepts. So this is my assignment. Thank you for listening, and yeah, thank you.